What's up, everybody? Derek Anderson, the DA. And you know, what can be said about Lucasfilm that hasn't already been said by millions of people online, on the internet, all across Twitter, okay, on YouTube as well. Everybody has talked about the things that you see this Fortune article discussing. It's funny how this works, okay? Because guess what? We're the ones that's always, oh, you guys are just haters. You know, Star Wars is doing great. Star Wars is doing great. What are you guys mad at? You're a bunch of haters. Man, we love Star Wars. Look at how many people showed up to Star Wars Celebration. Look at how many people watched The Mandalorian. Look at this, look at that. Well, now you got Fortune saying, what the heck is going on over there? What has happened to the studio behind Star Wars and Indiana Jones? And if you go back to the 80s, these were the two biggest franchises in the 80s, bar none. Okay, bar none. These were the two biggest. And they're saying, well, you know, how can Bob Iger salvage this? Yeah, how can he salvage this? This is a big disaster right now. This thing should be cranking out money. Star Wars, are you kidding me? You can't make money off of Star Wars. There's something seriously wrong, okay? There's some problem with you if you can't make bread off Star Wars. And then Indiana Jones, the exact same thing. You know, there's fans like myself. Raiders of the Lost Ark is still my favorite film of all time. Hands down, numero uno, sitting at the top of the list, and it probably will never come down from that spot. And they can't get me excited about an Indiana Jones film. Are you kidding me? But again, this is what happens when you let some idiot sit at the top of your company forever. Forever and ever. You're never going to fire her. You're just going to let Kathleen sit up there and just, oh, you know, she's a woman and we can't fire this woman. You know, it's funny how they want equality. They want, you know, hey, we got to have equal things, okay? Women have to be treated the same as men. A man would have been lost his job. Oh, what? You lost money on Star Wars? Get the hell out of here. Are you joking me? Get your ass out. There's no way a man would have sat up there at the top of Lucasfilm this long, doing all of this negative work and everybody calling for their head and nothing happens. There's no way in the world that would have happened. You know what I'm saying? None. So for this article to be written, and we're going to go through some of the finer points of it because this is behind a paywall. I'm not going to pay for this, but we're going to go through some of the finer points of this on Yahoo. That's where the article you can actually read on Yahoo. We're going to go through some of this, but yeah, it's becoming a financial issue. When Fortune is talking about your shit, okay? Fortune's talking about it. Guess what? That means you're dropping the bag, sir. You're dropping the bag, Bob, okay? You got $4 billion that you made as an investment. You should have been turning this into 60, 70, 80, 90 billion dollars. This thing should be cranking out all kinds of paper for your company, and it's not doing it. And you have nobody but yourself to blame. Kathleen should have been gone years ago. Well, I mean, what happened, Bob? Did your balls drop off? Go fire this woman and get back to doing business. That's basically what it comes down to. And the reality is, you got to fire everybody, in my opinion. I would just clean house. Get everybody going up out of there. Okay? You can always hire people back. But I would just start from ground zero. You know what? We don't have employees. Everybody, we'll let you know if we're retaining you. But as far as we're concerned right now, everybody is gone. Because this thing is just an absolute disaster. And now Fortune has got to call this thing to the carpet. Hey, Bob, let's give you some advice. This is hilarious, man. You got to love it. You got to love it. But again, we've been talking about it. We've been talking about it at length. And nobody wants to listen to the fans. Maybe they'll listen to Fortune. Let's go ahead and see what they got to say. So the article starts out talking about how Bob Iger went down to the Cannes Film Festival to support basically Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. I like how they mention here the now 80-year-old Hollywood star. You know, Harrison Ford is 80 years old, and there's no reason in the world this film should have been made. If you wanted to do an Indiana Jones thing, hey, you recast and you just start over with a brand new series. You know, I would set it between his 20s and 30s, like maybe 25 to 35, right before he goes to the Temple of Doom. I would have probably set it in that time frame and just told a brand new series of stories. You know, you could have him hooking up with Ravenwood. You could have him meeting Wuhan and all these other cats, you know, meeting Short Round, you know, something like that. Hanging out with Salah, going on adventures. There's no way in the world you had this dude at 80 running around the world on an adventure. Are you kidding me? It's like, would you have James Bond at 80 years old running around on adventures? No, you wouldn't. And Indiana Jones is essentially James Bond, you know, set in a particular time period as an archaeologist going on adventures, similar to a spy going on an adventure. Spielberg wanted to make a James Bond film. That's how the whole Indiana Jones thing came about. Spielberg wanted to make a James Bond movie George Lucas came along and said, hey, I got an idea for an archaeologist that goes on adventures, kind of like those serials that we used to watch when we were kids. I got an idea for that. And Spielberg said, okay, let's do that. And that's how Indiana Jones was born. So it's stupid to even think that an 80-year-old Hollywood star would be able to pull this off. Nobody's going to watch this. And look, $300 million. Dial of Destiny is one of the most expensive films ever made, and initial reviews suggest it could bomb big at the box office when it lands June 30. It's going to bomb big. It's not good. Everybody saw this coming. Everybody saw this coming, and it's like, what are y'all doing? Lucasfilm. Oh, we got an idiot heading the company. Oh, okay. Makes all the sense in the world now when you got a dummy at the top. Well, this is what happens. And again, nothing against Kathleen Kennedy as far as she's probably a very nice person. But the issue is that this woman has no idea what she's doing. She should have been fired years ago. And Bob Iger has been dragging his feet on this, and this is the results. He goes on to say, franchises cannot be measured in box office receipts alone. Well, that's kind of where it starts. When you're talking about a franchise and you're talking about where do you see the fan interest? Oh, it's in the box office. People are plunking down money to go and see this movie or go to see whatever is the next edition of this franchise. Well, it's the box office, people. Okay? If you don't have a good box office, that tells you what? Nobody's interested. You're going to see that with this Indiana Jones, by the way. Nobody's interested in this. So then, being repurposed into immersive experiences for his amusement parks. Yeah, all that's well and good if it's a hit movie. If it's a hit movie, oh yeah, you'll get all kind of people flocking into the theme parks to check it out. But you're not going to get anybody to come in to see something that they wouldn't even go to watch in the theaters. They don't know about it. They don't care about it. They didn't go see it in the theaters. That's the problem. The value of intellectual property cannot be measured simply in a franchise's box office receipt. No, it doesn't. It doesn't end there. It doesn't end there, but it certainly begins there. It begins with the box office because that tells you initially, oh, people really like this thing. People are coming to check for it. Oh, okay, let's add to it. That's when you can add all your stuff with the streaming, with the merchandising and the characters and the rides at the park. You can add all of that once you know that this thing is a hit. It starts with the box office receipts. It doesn't start and end here. It may end here, but it begins here. And so you got to have the box office receipts. I'm not sure if I understand where they're coming from with this. Lucasfilm's first return to the theaters in years opens to poor reviews. Obviously, we're talking about the Dial of Destiny. I did my coverage of the initial reviews of that. I'll link that above. Hasn't gotten much better from that time. It's boring is what we're hearing. Old man Indy running around, getting in adventures. It's just dull and boring. The character is not who he was. He's not confident. He's just kind of like this jaded old man that's just like, I'm ready to die. Like, you know what? I'm not with that. I'm sorry. Again, big Indiana Jones fan. I'm not with that at all. Again, they should have just gone ahead and did the recast. So yeah, this is going to be negative all the way for them. When this thing drops in a couple of weeks, that's going to be bad news bears, man. I have a feeling. Fans desert Disney Star Wars. I'm really glad they made this distinction between Star Wars and Disney Star Wars because there is a difference. Star Wars, people love Star Wars. They love the original trilogy. Some love the prequel trilogy. You get to the sequels and it's like, ooh, I don't know. All right, you get to Andor. Not a lot of people liked Andor. I loved Andor, but not a lot of people watched it. The Mandalorian, to me, that's been more hit and miss than anything. Had some good seasons, had some season, and then this last season was just like, what the hell is this? You have this mixed bag when it comes to Disney Star Wars. You saw Book of Boba Fett. You saw Obi-Wan. People have rejected those. Even being George Lucas's hand-picked successor has not shielded her from hefty criticism. It shouldn't. I don't care if George Lucas hand-picked her. Nobody cares. She do the job. Get the job done or get out. I'm not trying to hear George Lucas's favorite person. He handpicked her. Don't care. We let George have it. When George was dropping the ball, we let George have it. So you think that Kathleen Kennedy is going to get unscathed because that's the handpicked successor? Are you kidding me? Get out of here. A number of fans begrudge her, along with Last Jedi writer Rian Johnson, for deconstructing Luke Skywalker in the third trilogy. And again, it's the whole trilogy. It's the whole trilogy as a whole. No vision. No vision, no idea what to do. Yeah, completely destroyed the character of Luke Skywalker. Nobody wanted to see that Luke coming back. And he gave us just trash Luke Skywalker. People, Mark Hamill, it says here, distanced himself from the creative choices of Johnson and Kennedy. Even Mark Hamill was like, nah, that's not really Luke. And a lot of us agree. A lot of us agree. This Luke came off as a coward who abandoned the entire galaxy to the whims of Snoke. I mean, I don't think that's a hero at all. And that's what they did with the original trilogy's hero. They completely made him a coward. And I think that's just unforgivable for this particular franchise. And people are still trying to forgive it. People still want to love Star Wars again. Go fix Luke. Go do something different with them. And then, they're like, nah, we're done. We're done with Luke. So this is where we're left with it. Again, they've deserted Disney Star Wars. Could Kennedy go? Oh, boy. She better go. They better get her up out of here with the quickness. With an absolute quickness. Now check this out. Because of the drop-off in interest, Iger and his studio boss, Alan Bergman, are now in a difficult position. The Disney CEO has not spared high-ranking figures like Marvel's Ike Perlmutter or Victoria Alonso from the axe, and he has demanded results from his teams in exchange for greater creative control. Again, this chick has not proven whatsoever that she's going to be able to get the results that these cats is looking for. You got to get her gone. At this point, there's nothing left to talk about. There's nothing left to talk about. I don't care if the Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny came out and did $2 billion. She needs to be fired. She needs to go. That's it. We are done here. It's not going to do $2 billion, by the way. But she needs to be up out of here. No chance that this woman should be able to keep her job. She has completely wrecked three franchises, really, because Willow was something that I was even kind of interested in. I wonder what they're going to do with Willow. And they've completely destroyed that. Get her gone. That's it. Everything can be fixed with the right script. Yeah, I mean, you could say that, but the reality is besides the right script, you need the right vision. As I said on previous occasions, I did the whole video talking about it, which I will link above, but George Lucas was a visionary. So therefore, Lucasfilm needs a visionary at the top. Kathleen Kennedy is not a visionary. We've seen what her vision is. Her vision is, gender equality. That's what her vision is. That's what her whole, look at that video that I just linked above. I discussed it at pure length. I talked about it. I broke down that one video that she did with Fortune, go figure, where she was talking about how it was important that she had all of these women in the story group and have, so many people in Lucasfilm are women that are working there. That's what was important to Kathleen Kennedy. Not Star Wars telling good Star Wars stories. No. We want to sit back and focus on gender equity, identity politics. That's what was important to her. And that's why this company is falling flat on its face, because it doesn't have the vision of a storyteller at the top of it. You need a visionary at the top. Go get Jon Favreau. I know people are kind of iffy on Jon Favreau. I guarantee you Jon Favreau could just basically, hey, you know what? This is what we're going to do with Star Wars going forward. And he's looking at it from a creative's standpoint, not from some old producer that was resting on the laurels of George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, never wrote or directed anything. Good producer, whatever. I don't care about that. What's your vision for this franchise, for all of these franchises? What's your vision for this studio? She ain't got one because she's never had to do that kind of work. That's not her wheelhouse. That's not what she does. So yeah, the right script, that's nice. Good. I completely agree that you need good scripts. But beyond that, you need somebody with an overarching vision. A John Lasseter, Kevin Feige, even though I say he got lucky, he had a vision for the Infinity Saga. He knew what he was going to do. And then after that, he just kind of went off the rails because he thought that, my formula is going to be able to do anything you want to do. No, your formula doesn't work. You need good talent behind your formula, buddy. But nevertheless, that's beside the point. You need somebody with a vision. That's the only way this thing works. And look, this is how they ended. This is not forever. If another film turned out to be good, the fans will be there, said Schiffer. In fact, we'd be there first. I think it's naive to say that, the fans are always going to be there. That a big brand like a Lucasfilm or like a Star Wars or Indiana Jones, that it just can't fall. All right. I mean, we've seen big brands fall hard. Look what's happening in that Bud Light right now because you pissed the people off. So you can't say that, the fans is always going to be there. It's never nothing to worry about. You just come out with another good film and everything's A-okay. Yeah, I mean, you might lose an entire generation of people because you haven't, kept people up with it. Right now, how many people are really interested in Star Wars like we were back in the 80s? It's not the way it was in the 80s. I don't know if these guys are aware of that. The interest is there. I'm not saying there's zero interest, but it's nothing compared to how things used to be. And to me, if you want to keep Star Wars moving forward, Indiana Jones, Lucasfilm as a whole, if you want to keep it moving forward, you kind of have to always keep updating it. But at the same time, connecting it to the past while updating it for new generations. You have to. If you keep running the same old out there, or if you go so far away from the original Star Wars that, people don't even recognize it anymore. If you bastardize the thing, you lose all the original love because you've turned Luke into a bad guy damn near, a villain, a coward. You've just completely wrecked that character. I mean, there's people that are just going to be like, I'm done. Why am I sticking around for this? And people will not pass that down to their generation. So yeah, I think that's a little bit naive there, Fortune. But in order to start getting this thing on the right track, they just got to fire everybody. They just got to start with Kathleen and just work their way down. And then, yeah, you can bring people back in. All right, yeah, we giving John a call. We giving Maggie a call, Jimmy, whoever. You bring those people back in when you start to reconstruct Lucasfilm, but you're not going to do it by just firing Kathleen Kennedy and just thinking that's going to solve everything. You need somebody with a vision at the top. Anyway, folks, I've talked too long. What do you guys think about this situation? I love this article because they're pointing out all the stuff that we've pointed out. So it's a phenomenal, great article to read through. If you haven't read through it, I suggest you do so. But yeah, I think Bob has a big job ahead of him, because he did drop $4 billion on this thing, and he's definitely not getting the return he expected on his investment. But you guys go ahead, jump down in the comments, give me your thoughts and opinions on that. And thanks for watching. See you next time.